Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Steve. This is my wife, Lindsay. And today we're going to be reading to an Irishman's guide to the Irish accent. This is a topic we've been wanting to explore for quite some time. Lindsay absolutely has loved learning about accents, but we haven't looked into Irish accents yet. So we thought this would be a good video to check out today. You know, it just so happens, we didn't plan this, but we just realized when we sat down that we look like the Irish flag in a way, except we don't have the white in the middle. But if you consider the cream color in the background, I guess it's kind of close. I think your green and my orange
are
is almost the same shade exactly. Not quite, maybe, but it's very close. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. But guys, think this would be really interesting. You got anything you want to add before we get started?
Nope.
All right, let's go ahead and check out an Irishman's guide to the Irish accent.
This year was a bit boring due to one thing or another. Yes, America, it is spelled with two D's. So I decided to give you something to get in the Irish spirit. I also want to set the record straight for Hollywood because apparently they still think that all Irish people sound like a neutered leprechaun jacked up on narcotics. Also, if people like this video, I'll do a review of Wild Mountain Thyme where I list everything I got right and mainly wrong, so mash the like button if you want to see that. Either way, I had better get started now, so ladies and lads, boys and bures, sit down, grab your potatoes, and welcome to my own analysis of the many intricacies of the Irish accent. So, you want to speak in an Irish accent? Great. Next question, which one? I say this because, unlike America, where you have a few accents spread over hundreds of miles, Ireland has a load of accents packed into an area about as big as South Carolina.
Oh my god.
In Ireland, there is a different accent every few kilometres, or 0.62 miles if you love making life difficult for yourself. What are these accents, do you ask? Well, get ready because it's a little bit complicated and I will do a brief rundown for you. So, Ireland is split into 32 counties and almost everyone has their own unique accent. Some have two accents within the same county.
Wow.
That being said, there are some places that sound very similar. So I will simplify things for you. Instead of going through all 32 counties, I will explain the differences between the main areas where accents can be found. These are Dublin, Cork, Kerry, the Midlands, the North and the West. Let's start with Dublin. Dublin has two accents split between North Side and South Side. The North Dublin accent replaces the TH at the start of a word with the letter D. And you can forget about the T at the end of the word because it just isn't used.
Wait, so it'd be like instead of raw, it'd be raw?
Raw.
Raw? Raw? Oh, raw. Raw. Like, is that it? Raw? Wait, TH equals D.
So like...
Wait.
Those would be does? Does over there? Oh, does over there?
Does over there. Does over there.
Is that how you say it?
There. I can picture that in my head, actually. So that's the Dublin. Which Dublin? Is that north or south?
I think it's north.
North Dublin accent. So those people over there. Is that accurate? For some reason in my head, I picture that coming from an Irish accent, like those over there. I know I would butcher it. I get that, but yeah, those over there. What's another TH word? Think.
They.
Dink. No. Dink.
Day.
Day.
Dem.
I don't know. Is that maybe
Dankful? What do you say? Dankful?
thankful? I don't know.
All right. Let's see.
Let us know in the comments, guys.
It's just taking a break, you know, for next season, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, keep the good men on the bench. Then, bam, Bob's your uncle, Mary's your auntie.
In the south side of Dublin, everything is much posher. Down here, the vowels are much more elongated, and the vowels are much longer as well.
This was coined and made particularly well known by Breathy, who stayed in Japan, went on RTE and discussed the fact that having 8 lads over in an apartment would be absolute carnage. And so, yeah, that's where it gained its notoriety from.
That seems like a much more mild accent. Like, very mild.
Yeah, I was going to say the difference in the one county is insane.
Yeah.
That is such a major difference. You know, you do get differences in accents, but definitely not like in the same county. You're not going to see that much.
Noticeable, like,
unless they moved in from somewhere else, obviously. Like I moved to Indiana from North Carolina, so my accent isn't an Indiana accent. Yours,
it's not that different either.
well, because North Carolina is the most diverse state for accents in the country. And so we have very, you know what I'm saying, we had very southern accents. My mom has a very southern accent.
Yeah.
But I kind of got a middle of the road Southern, but some kind of
Midwest,
Mid-Atlantic, a little bit Midwest.
Yeah.
I picked up some of that since I've been here, though. So, but you can definitely still hear the Southern accent in my voice.
Yeah.
It's just not as strong as my mom's is.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But I can hear your Midwest accent, and even after living in North Carolina, well, it changed a little bit, but. And Sophia, she definitely, since being here, has got more Midwest accent because, well, she's 5. She's been here for 3-ish years or whatever. So a large portion of the time she's been talking. You know, she's been here. So
Moving into the Midlands then, we have an accent that's similar to my own because it's where I'm from. Again, the D replaces TH, but if there's a T in the middle of a word, you can kind of get rid of it along with the one at the end of a word,
hold on,
which sometimes sticks around
for
some words for some reason.
Oh my gosh, she talks so fast.
It does.
This means water is now water, butter is now butter, and so on. Sometimes like is thrown in at the end.
Isn't that how English people say stuff too, though?
Well, just like here, there's a ton of different accents.
Like, in general, when you think of an English,
Some of that it does. It does. Butter. But I can tell what he's saying. There is a difference. What you're picking up on is the T missing, and I think that does take place in some parts of England as well. But you can hear the difference in the accent, even though both places might take some places might take the T away.
Yeah,
you can hear the difference in the Irish versus the English. I can hear it, but I can't really explain it.
Right.
It's hard to explain, but I can
Identify it.
Yeah, I can identify it. I can't really explain how to say it.
Right.
A sentence for no good reason. That being said, not all these accents are the same. Meath has a bit of a Dublin twang, and the Meath accent is a bit deeper than the Offaly one, for example, but this is getting fierce complicated now, so I think we may move on. Heading south, we end up in Limerick. Limerick is a bit more nasally and sharper on the ear than most places in the country. In Limerick, you might hear yourself being called a gowl or a langer if you're acting a maggot. A good example of a Limerick accent would be our own Dobby the House Elf, President Michael D. Higgins.
Turn this down a little bit.
How people envisage their emergence from the destructive and debilitating, all-enveloping fog that is the pandemic of COVID-19, as our planet, wounded and in peril from what was a discarded respect for balance between what might be consumed for the necessities of life and the very capacity of the planet to renew itself.
Man, it sounds like I'm hearing someone read poetry.
So different. It's so crazy.
Yeah, that is so
How much
different.
variation there is.
Yeah, it's crazy. You don't see the variation that close together here. I mean, you do see variations from state to state, but even in state to state, like if you were to go from North Carolina to South Carolina, you might notice more of a more southern accent,
South.
but you're generally not going to know. If you talk to 100 people from South Carolina, 100 people from North Carolina, you're probably not going to be able to distinguish which states they're from. But obviously, if you go from North Carolina to, I don't know, to California, you're definitely going to notice the difference,
Moving south, we enter
Cork.
or the People's Republic of Cork, as they like to call themselves. Down in the People's Republic of Cork, everybody thinks they need to speak 40 decibels higher than everybody else in the country for some unknown reason. Down here you might pick up on the dramatic change in pitch that occurs at the start and end of a sentence, and then sometimes by is thrown in at the end of a sentence just for good measure.
Do you think that Cork is the true capital of Ireland?
Well, do you not?
I'm the interviewer, I have to say, boy. I have to say.
I do, yeah.
Why do you think that?
I don't really have a reason. I'm just from Cork, I suppose, really, isn't it?
It's being from Cork is the reason.
Being from Cork, yeah. I have to go because I'm actually discouraged.
That's a very unique one. That I think if I were to go and start really learning the different accents, I think that is one I could definitely pick out.
Yeah, because it's so different.
Yeah, and I think in that little video there, I think I did hear what he's saying. How it starts low. Did you hear that?
Kind of.
Like you see what he's talking about. Where's that? Right here. How it starts here and ends here. it did start low. Like I can't do it like hello.
Yeah,
Obviously,
it's hard to tell. I know it got louder and then softer, but
right. It got started off so. That's what it sounded like to me.
Moving into West Cork, things get a bit faster and harder to understand. A lot of the time you'll notice that S becomes SH in words like supermarket and shower, for example.
Supermarket.
The only thing with about late nights again, that's the only thing. That'll be the same hit, which I don't know, we'll get used to that again. So we'll open that, it's good. So it is.
What?
I caught none of that.
I literally did not know what he said. Hold on.
That was so
Hold on. I want to hear that one again, dude. I do not know what he said. All right. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit more. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
With about late nights again, that's the only thing. That'll be the same hit, which I don't know, we'll get used to that again. So we'll open that, it's good.
Honestly, if I heard somebody talking like that, I would think it was like a Russian accent or like they're speaking Russian.
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know why, but
I don't know what he said.
You know,
Sorry.
that was hard.
Yeah, that was hard, man. You know, accents are so interesting. They're just
They really are.
It's so crazy how, especially over there, you know, you're looking at Ireland, a relatively small island nation, and even just this little bit, it's just like from like one county you had, all right, I could understand more I said, and then the other, I literally couldn't understand what they were saying. And it's like, how does that happen? I guess it's like if you go back, you know, hundreds of years, everybody stayed in their like little tribe, a little village, so to speak. And nobody was really traveling outside of that as much. So the accent stayed put and it grew into what.
Yeah, it's impressive. It really is.
It's cool. And it's why we don't have that here is because so many people came into the U.S.
places
instead of like these places that were like have been the single people for so long. It's so interesting.
Then moving on to Kerry, an accent so confusing most Irish people can't even understand it. It's a little bit like West Cork, but much faster and higher pitched and a lot harder to understand. In Kerry, the SH sound is thrown in almost
harder to understand than the language we just heard. I mean, than the accent we just heard. What?
Where it can go. And other than that, I can't think of a way to describe this accent, so I'll just play the clip now.
If you were a farmer in Ireland today with a shed full of cattle, and you were trying to finish them to sell them at whatever price that the factories would give you, and perhaps maybe the prices being
This to me is easier.
Yeah, I was gonna say
easier. I'm understanding him.
I don't understand everything, but I understand
cattle.
Right, he's talking about the price of cattle, right? Yeah, and
I didn't understand a word.
But it could have been that single individual. And he was in a pub, it looked like, so he's probably been drinking. So that's probably part of it. So I don't know. We need to hear more from West Cork to really understand what the true accent probably sounds like when people, you know, are maybe not drunk or something. So, but yeah, I can get what he's saying. This is a hard accent, but I can understand what he's saying if I listen like closely.
Coerced in such a way that it's very difficult for you to make money. And to hear you coming out with the comment encouraging people, well, you're going to do your part by eating less meat. It's well easy to know that you're not a struggling farmer trying to make a living out.
It sounds Indian to me. A little bit. Like if I closed my eyes and someone asked me to guess what that accent was, I would guess India.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if
without knowing.
I don't know if I would. I think it sounds Irish to me. But I can understand it's got something about it that you also hear in an Indian accent. And I don't know what it is about it. I can just hear it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it sounds like an Indian accent. I think it sounds, I just think I can hear the pieces of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what that is exactly.
Moving up to the west of Ireland, we have counties Clare and Galway. This accent is probably the easiest to understand for any foreign listeners. There's a minor presence of the Z sound seen in Mayo, and the last letter in each word has a little emphasis on it, but other than that, there isn't really anything to report here.
Galway was a fantastic liberation. Like most of the students of the time, I think I was first generation university.
Wow.
The world was young. Youth culture was emerging for the first time. Young people had a voice. I think the issues were such that most people, if not politicized, were interested in public affairs that time.
Yeah, that was very clear.
Very clear. And I think that is one of the Irish accents I picture in my head more often.
Maybe a little more exaggerated than that.
A little more exaggerated.
But,
and
yeah.
I'm wondering where would that be that you hear that accent, but it is a little more exaggerated, like you say, because that, if you take that accent and make it a little more exaggerated, a little more of, I don't even know how to describe it, but a little more something, that is the accent that I tend to hear from Ireland more than any other.
Mm-hmm.
Moving a bit further up the coast, we have counties Mayo and Sligo. Mayo is similar to the Kerry accent, but you can actually understand what they're saying, and the tone is a bit deeper. Almost every S you come across is now pronounced as SH. There's also a bit of a Z sound when pronouncing anything in its plural form.
It's fitting that we gather here each year to celebrate St. Patrick and his legacy. He too, of course, was an immigrant. And though he is, of course, the patron saint of Ireland for many people around the globe, he's also a symbol of, indeed, the patron of immigrants.
Now, finally, we're...
Funny, that one sounds... That's one I recognize a lot, too.
...arrive in Northern Ireland. Now is pronounced now, I is yes, and we means something small. This accent is very heavy in Belfast, but varies in intensity across the north.
Well, the demolished we had to go anyway. We hadn't much a choice in the matter, but sure.
It's a cold journey to school this morning.
Oh, God, you wouldn't belong getting frostbite.
Finally, there are a few outliers. There are a few
That almost reminds me of like our northern accents, like Minnesota, Wisconsin.
I can see what you're saying. It does remind me a little bit of that.
We have similar intonations on certain things.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Where the accent sounds like a mix of two different accents. For instance, the Cavan accent is a mix of the Midland and Northern accents. The Louth accent is a mix of Northern Irish and Dublin accents. Kildare and Wicklow sound a lot like Dublin. And finally, Wexford, which just sounds like a deep-spoken Midland accent. That's all the accents I can think of. If you think I've got something wrong, then feel free to abuse me in the comments. So, how many accents are there? Well, there's about 30 of them, once you've accounted for accents that sound similar and counties that have more than one accent. Then you can multiply that figure by 2 because of the farmer version of each accent. The farmer version comes from someone who lives in the countryside or on a farm. This, for some unknown reason, makes the accent about twice or 3 times as strong, as demonstrated by this Kerry man talking about his sheep.
Well, there was 45 sheep missing, like, in the lambs and everything, and the sheep just count out a nice bit of money, like, to be done about it, nothing.
So, after calculating that, you can say there's about 60 accents in total. So, if anybody from Hollywood is listening, take note and see if you can take the Best Irish Accent in a Film award away from the guy who voiced Potato in Sausage Party. Yes, that is literally the best Irish accents ever to come out of Hollywood.
Oh, I love that. I love how this video was put together. It was just, it was fun, man. This was interesting. Like, I mean, why is it, like he was just saying, why is it that the Irish, the farmer version of the Irish language, it's not just in Ireland. If you go to farmers in the UK or even here in the US,
I wouldn't even say just farmers, like rural.
Rural people. I can't even say the word. Rural.
We would call it country, more country.
Yeah,
accent.
I don't ever say rural. That's not a word I use, generally speaking. I say, man, my laryngitis is coming back. Dang. All right, anyway. But this was interesting. Like, so about 60 accents, it sounds like. And there's variations from that when you get to the farmers and stuff. So it sounds like really you probably have 150,
oh my God,
200, maybe, like subtleties. But there's really 30 main accent differences, which is insane. You know, I mean, because like in our country, the size of our country, it's not even probably near that, honestly.
Really?
I mean, think about it.
I've never really thought about it.
Well, like,
how many different ones?
When you think about here, you think about the Southern accent, and then there's the deep South accent, and then you have different variables within that. But you have the two. You have the South accent, you have the Southern accent, you have the Midwest accent, you have the New England states, you have the Pacific Northwest, California, Texas has its own accent. But like these places, you probably only got about, I'd say 15 different main accents in the US based off of what I can picture. And then within that, you have like subtle or strong versions of the accent. You got the Southern accent that's kind of like, bless you. And you got the Southern accent that's kind of like, like me, kind of, you know,
a mild southern
accent, and then you got the really, really strong, the very strong Alabama accent that goes something like this, of talking very slow.
Yeah.
And the S is especially emphasized, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, this was interesting, guys. I love learning about this. Let us know in the comments if you have any other like accents or maybe something else fun to learn about is like what do you call it? Like the way people like slang and stuff. So if you want to point us in a direction for stuff like that or anything else you in Ireland that would be interesting for us to check out, please let us know in the comments, guys, whatever it is. We always look forward to recommendations and suggestions, but because a lot of times we have no idea what to check out until someone actually suggests it to us. So, but anyways, you got anything you want to add before we go?
No.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow us on our journey to discover all things UK and Ireland. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Bye.